So the summer of 2024 is here. We're in June and it's Friday night. So let's get into our Friday night free for all. Tonight, we're going to the Midwest, actually St. Louis. The band is Conquest. The guitarist, singer, mixer, producer, his name is Derrick Brumley, and his band just released their ninth studio album, Paradox. Derrick, welcome to Metal Mayhem ROC. How are you, man?
Oh, it's a pleasure to be here, my friend. It's a pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Of course. Hey, we're about the same age. I'm 56. You may be a tad bit older, maybe by a year or two.
Yes. Yep. You're right.
We're cut from the same cloth. We go back to the 80s.
Back to when music was real.
Oh my God, everything was real. I
I
go, the
love that
bottom
kind of
line,
stuff,
it's
though,
the
man.
it's the new one that's out, the Paradox. So 16 songs, 15 originals, one kick-ass cover of the Rainbow Man on the Silver Mountain.
Yes,
You know,
sir.
Derrick, these songs are easily consumable. 5 minutes and under. They get in, they get out, they tell a story. Or, I'm not gonna say, we're not reinventing the wheel here, but we're like expanding on it, making it a little better. So
Well, I appreciate that. For me, it was it's always a labor of love when it comes to music, but try to keep it fresh, but still stick to who we are, and not try to reinvent the wheel, as you said.
yeah.
Because music, to me, that's what music used. Like you said, same age bracket, right? So when you hear a great Priest song or a great Megadeth song, they've a lot of records, a lot of songs, but when you hear that couple of them that are really, really in there, I kind of feel like we did that with this record, in a bigger way, if you would.
Well, the influence fingerprints are all over it. And when I make reference of something, it's not a derogatory term. It's
Oh,
just
not
my interpretation. I hear this.
I buy
So
it love. It's called love to me because again, at that day, think about it. Somewhere along the way, everything that you're talking about, yeah, I didn't write, I didn't figure out, I didn't make this. I'm just a person who picked up the potion and kept going. You know what I mean?
yeah.
So yeah, I love it.
So the album came out May 10th. That's
I
when this
do.
came out. It's
That's
been out a
correct.
few weeks. Full videos are out, like I mentioned, Walking Dead and then Writing on the Wall. The two
Yep.
video songs. The two songs are different. The Walking Dead gets right at you. And then Writing on the Wall. Well, let's start with that. Writing on the Wall, my notes. Killer leads in the bass player. Oh my God, where'd you get this cat? He's
Don't let them hear you say that. No, just kidding. But Rob's
uh,
great, man. Rob's great. Full of melodies, full of just pocket groove, and for us, man, that's big. It's a big part of the band. Everybody's got their own flavor. We're definitely not. It's not the Derrick Brumley show. It's the Conquest show. So Rob comes in with a flavor, and boy, it sure helps.
well, first off, he plays a Rickenbacker, so he gets extra points for that.
That he does.
But tell us about the band. You're the founder. You're the original guy. How long have these guys been with you, and who are they?
So there's a lot of variant there. So let's start with Rob, since we talked about him already. Rob actually played with me way back when we were, I mean, young kids, like 83, 84, when we were just, our fingers were stuck in the strings, right? At that time. And then he went off and was in cover bands and things like that. And we had a longtime bass player, for the most part, named Tony Restivo. And then when you jump over to Mike jumped in about 1995 in a transitional move, music, life, all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Lee got in the band a few years ago, and I've known Lee forever. He's been in the region playing in his own bands and had some success. And when Tim had to leave, who's been with the band for a long time due to personal issues with his health, it was just like the perfect fit. Lee stepped right in, and bam, music was made, and it turned out really well. So that's how it kind of went.
Yeah, at this point of the game, let's admit it here. This is mainly a passion of, a labor of love. You know, um,
Always.
who's going to get rich on this? It's the 1%, but
Yeah.
you got to be playing with guys that you get along with, because we're all too old to fuck with bullshit. It's just like,
To be worried about, it's funny, earlier when you said it, you talked about our imagery. And it's like, well, good thing you like it, because there's only one. That's what you get. You know what I mean? We're definitely not the wig guys or the eyeliner guys. Nothing wrong with that, but it's just not our thing.
Nothing wrong with that if you're the original guys, you know. But even we've had discussions on our platform. We have many different shows about. Yeah, you'll enjoy this. We have this topic. It came up for discussion. Who won the long haul from the '80s, heavy or hair? If you think about it, a lot of the heavy bands are still releasing original material in
Without a doubt.
touring.
Without a
Overkill,
doubt.
Testament, Flotsam and Jetsam, Exodus,
Metal
all
Church
those
was in there. Uh, Always, Slayer until they bowed out. And
Slayer,
you know,
Metallica, Megadeth.
yeah, it really, truly, that what you said is true. Um, you know, the standing of the separation of the hair, what they call hair metal or whatever.
Yeah.
To me, that's rock. That's rock and roll. Anything that's Poison, Winger. I mean, there's some good music and good talent
Mm-hmm.
there, but it's a different style of music comparing it to Megadeth or Metallica.
The point I was trying to make was the harder bands have honed their
Survived.
yeah, they've kept going. And a lot of the other bands, they're nostalgia acts. Unfortunately, those are the guys that are in stadiums and, still
It's
selling out the
crazy, ain't it?
casino.
It's crazy how many people go out and see. And again, I love it. I love hard rock. I love concerts. I love all the vibes. So to me, that's awesome that's working. But at the same time, it's like, wow, show that kind of love to the Overkills, to the, to the, metal churches and those bands, guys like that. Flotsam's still bouncing around out there too.
They
I,
have a new one.
I just heard a new song from them. Exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, Love that stuff. And you're right. None of those guys, not me, nobody is paying bills with this money. Trust me. It's a labor of love.
We talk to all of them and they're all the same way. Everyone, they do this and then they have their side hustle that raise their family, have it be real estate. God, Bobby Blitz had a chocolate store down in Jersey.
Right.
He does stuff with exotic cars, but he just happens to be an overkill, and they don't tour how it used to be. So let's get back to the album. Some of my other things. Oh, let's talk about influences. The song "Save Me." Okay,
Okay.
80s feel, the 80s riff, nice chorus. Who brought that? Who brought that to the table? Is it were you guys writing together? Because you recorded in the same room, according to your press notes.
Right.
Where'd that song come from?
So most of the tracks I write lyrical and subject content. I put that together. The hook, actually, I wrote that hook as well. That's one of them songs that I kind of just it came up pretty easy. Like you said, an old school vibe to it. So when you say 80s, the me and Mike, the other guitar player, will joke around on, well, that's got a Van Halen feel, or that's a Slayer, or that's a Metallica, or that whatever. The feel of the songs, we do that, and we'll name it that hook for a while. You know what I mean? So that's where "Save Me" came into play. I pretty much did that when the guys, but again, I give all credit to the idea is mine and I brought it in, but without the flavor that Mike adds to it, and Rob and Lee with what's going on, it wouldn't be that song. So that's pretty much how that tune came together.
The variety of songs on here. First of all, it's a lot of songs, which is cool. But as I've been digesting it, I'm bumping around. I still got a disc player in my car, even though I had to
Good for
stream this.
you.
Yeah, you got it. I still go down and buy, even though I buy the disc, I
Yeah.
burn it, put it in my hard drive, and it sits on sits on my
Yeah, but at
dresser.
least you
But
buy it.
you gotta buy it. And listeners out there, now Paradox, this album's out. Go right to the website, buy it from the band. Don't
We
go
appreciate
stream
that.
it.
Yeah.
Don't, none of that. Another song. Now you're talking about that. Love Amplified.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of killer, like, heavy stuff on this, but as you're talking about, it just came out of you. That is it a radio song? It almost sounds like a,
You
an
say that, it's so
80s.
funny because we were downstairs, we were down in the studio, and Mike comes walking in, and he's playing that little hook up front of it, man. And I go, "What's that?" And he goes, "Oh, that's my Van Halen hook going on this week." Blah blah blah. We joke around, laugh. We start working on something else, and then we come back over, and he's playing that, and I bust up, put a guitar on. We start slamming some chords behind it. Next thing you know, you got a verse, the phrasing on it, and then we kind of let it sit for a day or so. And then there was another song we were working on that had the middle breakdown that we borrowed it from. So we pulled that out of there, stuck that over, and did the lead and the breakdown in the middle. Borrowed that hook from ourselves, if you would. And then once Lee sat down and put that beat behind it, man, that smack slam beat behind it, kind of took it out of the poppy world, but still has that as you said, a commercial feel. And then how can you not deny Rob Boyer on there, right? With the bass, the melodies in the background.
My notes said sort of reminded me of Bruce Dickinson Tattooed Millionaire. It was
hey, that's a pretty coal thing that you said that. Now that you say that, I do see where you're going with that.
I'm like, yeah, all right. I see these guys working. I'm telling you, Derrick, I enjoyed it. I really did. It was like, fuck yeah, man. All right. Let's see. Walking Dead. Another thing on the Walking Dead song, no. Gets going real fast. The breakdown part before the solo was so cool because this is the first part with Rob. I'm like, because I'm watching the video and it's going along, and then it's like you downshifted. You're like, oh, all right, let's slow this down a little bit. Rob comes over on the Rickenbacker.
We have a lot of fun with those things, and it's really easy, when you're writing a hook and you're putting it together, and we're all in the room, and that's kind of how this one went. And we're going, well, we need, and I said, I pulled up a stop right there, and I said, Rob, it's all you, buddy. You figure it out. So he came up with that little pedal hook on the bass there, which led into the harmony lead guitars, and then we bounced right back into the drive, right in the middle of it. So
the track "He Shall Return."
Yeah.
Well, where'd you guys return from? 1970 stained glass Judas Priest? Because that is a fucking
what a compliment.
Tip of the horn, raise of the horns reminds me of Beyond the Realms of Death, but it holds its own. It may sound like, come on, there's only 8 notes on a fucking guitar, isn't there? Only 8 notes.
Right. I say it all the time. If something doesn't remind you of something else, then you're not a music listener.
Yeah. Halfway through, Killer Scream, and I could have this vision, the live version, the crowd just banging their heads and going old school. Do you play this? Have you played this live?
We have. I must say that we play a large portion of the new record live, and everything that we have taken out and put into live application has been received exceptionally well. And that being one of them, it's that drive, man. It's just that slow thunder that drives. Rob's actually on a 5-string on that one, on a Spectra, and it's just a low beat, gong gong, and it drives. And we pick up in the middle, like you say, and it gets into the gallop a little bit. It really is about what I'm talking about. It's about, he shall return, and biblically, we're living in some strange times. So you never just know, my friend. You never know.
Well, Derrick, like I mentioned before, you guys recorded this and wrote it. Well, first of all, recorded it all in the same room, because in this day and age, that's unheard of.
What makes it cool to do that is, to me, I think you keep the feel. It's not I'm going to use the concept. It's not perfect. So to me, when something's perfect in heavy metal, you can tell that we've been in Pro Tools and we diced it all up, and we tried real hard to we used some clean methods, but at the same time, we didn't muck up the ebb and flow by the band.
And maybe it's just because I'm an veteran listening to this heavy metal since I was in 5th grade. But You're right. What would a song be? What would a Van Halen song be without, like Everybody Wants Some, or, when Eddie made a mistake and they leave it in there?
Well, I mean, it's the flavor. It's the cherry on top. It's the nuts and the whipped cream on the sundae, and to me, we left some of that in there, and I just think I think it's what makes it really cool.
Okay, moving this along, got a couple more. Celtic Mist. Again, Rob, killer, great groove, the break part, and just I don't
He
know,
inspired that. Yeah, that's all actually he brought that title to me. He was over in Ireland, and he come back with this, this little melody thing on the bass, and he had some ideas lyrically, and he had that title. And I took some of his ideas and wrote some lyrics and created some melodies to it. And next thing you know, we're jamming, and it created again. This time around, the band just really flourished on working together, and all of a sudden, bam! There was the hook, there was the song, and the breakdown in the middle and all that. It was he had those things already done, so it was really cool to play up against the bass, opposed to the bass playing up against the guitar.
Mhm. Now I'm not familiar with your back catalog yet because I will be, but traditionally are a lot of Conquest songs between that 3.5 and 5 minute range?
So we've
Do you
done it pretty much all of it, man, over the years. There's some songs on, the World's Gone to Hell that are longer. That was the last record we did.
Mhm.
That's a cool record too. I think you'll like that. No doubt about it. And if you go back a few more records, there's a record called The War We Rage. It's more of a progressive thrash metal, a little bit
Mhm.
more than this record. This record here is a little bit more, in my opinion. We straddle we've talked about those songs, but then you also got Babylon America with the piano and all that kind of stuff. And so, there's so much stuff on the record that I think it's a little more diverse record than the other ones.
No, no, you're right. And one of my last ones, the acoustic song, definitely not wimpy. It has balls. Last Goodbye. It's um when I was writing my notes because I wanted to make note of this. It's acoustic, and like I said, it has tons of balls. What's the history behind Last Goodbye?
Well, so that song was written for my father. So my dad, my mother, and my dad passed in 2019 within about 4 months of themselves, and
Oh, sorry, man.
that was one of those odd years. Then COVID hit, and I was working on that song actually, and I actually told myself, I didn't really care if it was a Conquest song or not. I was going to write the song. So I wrote that song on the acoustic, and then Mike jumped in and we started playing some little additional melodies with it. I took it downstairs, started playing the piano with it. And then next thing you know, there it was. And I didn't care if it was seemed sappy to anybody. I didn't care. My opinion was I wrote it for my dad. And if you don't like it, hit the next button. You know what I mean? It's just that simple.
Well, on a serious note, again, I'm sorry for your loss because that's
Oh,
terrible.
thank you. Thank you.
Both parents in, within 3 or 4 months,
Yes,
you know,
it was an interesting time in life. I can tell you that.
hard enough getting older, Derrick. You get older every day, something doesn't work right.
That's
But
true.
the end of this album, Pops had his fingerprints all over it because you did a cover of Man on the Silver Mountain. And in the press notes, you said that you've been hearing that song since a little kid because you used to drive around with
Yep.
Pops playing it.
Yep.
How cool is that? Because when I was younger, God rest my father's soul, we weren't jamming Rainbow. So,
Yeah, well, I was kind of lucky that way a little bit when it come to music. And that was one of them songs, because if it would be something else, sometimes he'd go, that's too heavy. But when he'd let me play the Rainbow records. And that was one of them tunes early on that resonated with me. So I always wanted to put it on a record. And so it went on this one.
well, it fits right. It fits nicely in there. A couple more points. According to your press notes, you've played with a lot of bands. You're opening up for the Burning Witches
Yeah, in a
soon.
couple of weeks. We got that coming up. We got some other things in the works. Yeah, we played with just about back in the Jaeger tour days. We were a Jaeger band, so we got put on a lot of the Midwest stuff, which was super cool.
What's a
Uh,
Jaeger band?
so a Jaeger band back in the 2000s was if you played so many dates a year and you bounced around the country in certain areas, Jägermeister would sponsor. You'd get a sponsorship, and they would
Okay.
help you get on some of the tours. And they did for us quite a bit of stuff. and you'd push their product and they'd push you. Is what it boiled down to. Super cool program. It's gone.
Yeah,
Of course, it's
gone.
gone. Anything good's gone. You know that.
Oh,
So
yeah, it's all gone. I happened to see Burning Witches in Buffalo opening up
okay,
for KK's Priest, and they fucking killed. Great
awesome,
band.
awesome. Looking
Great
forward
band.
to it then.
Touring, besides that gig, do you get outside of, now you're from St. Louis, that's your headquarters now?
That's the outskirts of St. Louis. It's our heads where we're all from, headquarters, as you call it. Yeah. So fall there'll be some more stuff. We got some one-offs lined up in between there. I don't usually do summer unless unless there's a good reason to do it. Tours in the Midwest suck through the summer because it's so far to get somewhere. You know what I mean? It's complicated, and fuel prices right now are not worthy. So it's hard. But we'll get out in the fall. We'll be up in Chicago. We'll be in those kind of places. Usually about a 400 to 500 mile radius, unless something pops up really good. That's kind of the truth. So,
Chicago, you ever play that Chicago festival at Reggie's
oh yeah,
every year?
oh yeah. We played Reggie's many a times. We played a lot of those things back in the day. We played Milwaukee Metal Fest. We've done a lot of those things, and we will get back at it. Unfortunately, the record drops the same time as you're having an election year. You got the prices of everything through the roof, so it's brutal on a band like us to drop and go. But we'll do 3 or 4 nights in a row, that kind of stuff, and bounce back home, go back out and do it again.
Awesome. So where could people get in touch with Conquest? Where are your socials?
So obviously Conquest Metal on Facebook, conquestmetal.com. If you go to the regular website, conquestmetal.com, everything you could ever want to know is there. You got access to your Spotify's, all your links to buy the vinyl, all the links to buy the CD. I believe there's some special on shirts. We got a merch booth there. I mean, anything and everything you want. All of our tour dates are listed. Pretty much everything is right there at conquestmetal.com. Obviously, you can go to Dark Star Records and that kind of stuff. Anywhere music is sold, Amazon, you name it, it's out there. Please go buy the vinyl. That really helps. And well, I don't know. I still love opening stuff up and seeing stuff, So
so do I, man. We're again cut from the same cloth. Now, the interesting thing, the vinyl, I heard somewhere you convinced the record label Dark Star to make a double album.
So they put it in 2 different packages. The opening package would have cost, we would have never seen our returns, right? So they put it in 2 different packagings and dressed them both nice. So the second one is Paradox Babylon America, and then the first one is the Paradox record. And basically you break the tunes up. There are a couple songs off the first record on the second record, since there was the space for it, and we just kind of threw some over there to fill in the gaps, and so it turned out really, really cool.
Before I let you go, we always have a question to our guest, and I'm looking forward to this one. Quickly, give me your Mount Rushmore, your top 4 favorite bands of all time. Rock, metal, whatever. If you were to pick 4.
For sure, Judas Priest. For sure, Sabotage. For sure, do I go there? For sure, I'm going to say Sabbath with Dio. I don't know how you do that exactly, but anyway, yeah, Sabbath with Dio, right? And then I'm going to go with I'm gonna go with Van Halen, just for the sake of Edward Van Halen. Without him, I wouldn't have played guitar for sure. So here we are.
Well, first of all, it's Roth Halen, and my last name's Verno.
Yeah.
Van Halen's my favorite band. When my wife and I had our first child together, I wanted to name him Eddie Van Verno. And no
she
one was having it.
Was she?
No, but I got my youngest son, Edward, in there. So
there you go.
Again, the band is Conquest. The album is Paradox. Metal Mayhem ROC. We'll have everything on the website. We'll have all the links down here. Get out there, buy it. Get to your local record store, and let me hear what you think. Yeah, let me hear what you think about all this. Derrick, thanks, man. Best of luck. And anything we can do to help you, feel free. Send us an email, whatever.
I appreciate you, and I appreciate you taking the time to spend with me. Thank you so much.
Man. Have a healthy summer.